Hi Olivia, it's Fancy, and as I mentioned in my post, you have resolved your overallness problem from the previous version of your design. However, now you have a pattern orientation problem. So um, if you were to fold this in half vertically, it would be a mirror image of each other, and it's fairly easy to make patterns. So we want you to challenge yourself with your designs and concentrate on well-balanced asymmetrical designs. Um, anyway, also there is a figure ground problem here with, I'm going to call these cues because right now that's what they look like. These cues that appear to be against a white background. And that white background continues from the left side all the way to the right side for the most part. So we can imagine that these are all kind of on a white background. There's also um, these here. Oh, wait, forget it. I'm sorry. These are the center of your, I'm not sure what I'm calling these because it's hard to tell if they're gradating away from each other because they're overlaid. It's really an interesting transparency effect. Um, but look how well I think the figure ground ambiguity works well here where you have these kind of overlapping. Um, in here too, so that white disappears. So if you can think about maybe these are more focal points than points of emphasis. They don't seem to gradate away from each other. This one does a little bit. It's hard for me to explain how that happens. I think because of the way that it's, yeah, that's really kind of interesting. This does seem to gradate from dark to light. This one not so much from light to dark. It doesn't. There's a lot of contrast around that white circle. But you could maybe go to step 2. I assume this is step 1. Anyway, let's talk about breaking this out of a pattern orientation. So what I could see you doing is making some of these squares larger. So these squares here could go larger. They don't all have to be the same size. I could see you, shifting where they are. So shifting their position within the composition so they're not vertically aligned and horizontally aligned and centered. I could see you getting rid of this white background, just giving it a different value. So there's not that high contrast. Um, there's not a high contrast. It doesn't look like a figure on a ground. So maybe think about making these larger, repositioning them so they're not bisymmetrical. And they're very subtle too. And what about the gradation? Where do you see gradation happening? That's a huge objective for this assignment. So I'm a little hard pressed to see where the gradation is. Whether you're using points of emphasis, there need to be gradation away from the points of emphasis. If it's visual pathways, it needs to be gradation within pathways or across pathways. Points of emphasis, interpenetration is different, so that's just to add extra um, visual interest. So you need to think of points of emphasis or gradating pathways and think gradation. How would you handle that? Don't change this file. Open up this file and go to File, Save As, and make a duplicate copy. So you always want to be able to go back to where you were easily, and that's the way to do it. All right, I look forward to your next one. You can do it.